Welcome to Speakeasy with Paul F. Tompkins. I am still Paul F. Tompkins, and my guest this time out is were you gonna look in there?
No, I was just trying to act natural by going like...
What? That seemed very natural. Yeah. So natural that I had to ask you what you were doing. That's the proof that it worked.
That's how human what I was doing was. Was that you went, what the fuck was that?
That I became instantly curious because I'm a student of humanity.
That's right, yeah.
My guest this time out is a writer, a comedian, actor? Yes. It's official now. His eponymous sitcom, Mulaney, starts October 5th on the Fox network. Please say hello to John Mulaney. John!
That was an excellent intro.
Thank you very much.
That was the energy as if a band was about to kick in and I was about to walk out.
Right.
Instead, I'm just sitting.
Instead, it just cuts to you.
Instead, you swiveled a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that lovely intro. It's nice to see you.
Absolutely. As a child, you loved show business. You were fascinated by it. You used to watch I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
And you would see Desi Arnaz's life.
Yes.
And you would say, well, that's for me.
Well, he would be at home all day, and then he would go to the club at night.
Sure.
And then he would do what to us appeared to be 3 minutes work. One song, maybe.
Right.
And then the idea of just being at home all day and having one thing to do at night at a nightclub really appealed to me. Mm-hmm. And I just liked his whole thing. Like, I liked his hair, I liked the way he dressed. I didn't realize that that was like hair tonic and that they had a hair treatment back then. So I would just stick my head in the sink. In school, I'd go in and,
Oh, so you would just wet your hair
when you see slick back hair as a kid, I thought that was just wet hair.
Because Desi Arnaz, he had beautiful, glossy black hair.
And a lot of guys did back then.
Thick as a jar of peanut butter.
Sure.
So you saw that and you were like, I'm gonna get that Desi look.
Yeah.
Stick your head in the sink.
I would fill the sink at St. Clement Grammar School and then dip my head back like this. And then I would get water all the back down my shirt.
Of course.
And we got in trouble once. I got in trouble for doing it.
Were there other guys
yeah.
who also loved Desi Arnaz?
No, they didn't, but I was like, we should have slick back hair, and I was popular enough that some people followed the trend of sticking their head in the sink. And then I, like any kid would, I took conga drum lessons.
From whom?
From a percussionist in, when Broadway shows would come to Chicago. Mm-hmm. This was a guy who was in the orchestra pit. He was a percussionist for a lot of different musicals. So I took drum lessons on a drum kit, and I took some conga drum lessons. Mm-hmm. As an entree into show business, I figured, like Desi, I could be a mambo band leader.
You're a little kid. You're old enough to know that this is entertainment. It's fiction, but that there was, this is a real thing, this music and everything. But you're not...
Ricky Ricardo was fiction. Desi Arnaz was a real person.
Yes, of course.
I don't mean to give you a dressing down.
But... No.
All right.
I don't mean to take one. How do you like that?
I won't stand for one. How about that?
So, is
Mambo an ongoing
how
dialogue?
Vibrant? Yes. How vibrant is the Mambo scene?
Yes. And then a movie called Mambo Kings came out.
Armando Sante.
And at the end of the movie, it was like, and then the Mambo era ended, and I thought, oh. Okay.
Oh, so a bit of a rude awakening for you.
Yeah, I couldn't have been more excited to see Mambo Kings. And at the end, it was like, and then Mambo in America was done. And I thought, uh-oh, I've been placing a lot of bets on Mambo.
Thank God I saw this movie.
Thank God I saw Mambo Kings, yeah. I don't even know if I just think that it was the first thing I saw where I didn't have to work that much.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I'll bang on a conga drum.
Do you feel that stand-up made that dream come true?
Yeah.
When you got to a point where you really did have nothing to do all day.
Yeah.
And you just had that one thing to do at night.
Yeah.
But it was more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, you go do 10 minutes or something. Yes, that was actually real. When I started doing stand-up, that was a real moment of victory in realizing that I didn't have to do anything all day. Mm. I remember as a kid, just all I wanted to do was to sit in a diner and read a magazine. That, to me, was the most glamorous adult life imaginable.
You've always struck me as an old soul in that you seem to have an appreciation for things that are beyond your years. That you've always been
One might say the same thing about you.
Well, perhaps, but I'm older than you.
Yeah, but not that.
Right?
Not this much older than me.
Well, I just like clothes.
That's true. All right.
You told me before we started. You came in with a tie.
Yeah.
And you tried the tie on. And you said, "Well, I took the tie off because it felt like I was wearing a costume."
It looked too professorial.
But you're saying that. Look how I'm dressed. Now, how am I supposed to take that?
But you're Paul F. Tompkins.
That's right. Don't you? Yeah. It seems like you were always glamorizing adulthood. Is it fair to say you were in a hurry to grow up? Did you feel like, I can't wait until...
I don't know how you felt as a kid, but I thought I was grown up. I did not think that I was like a tiny little person walking down the street.
Right.
I remember I would go to the movies alone. I remember going to see that movie, Home for the Holidays, with the Holly Hunter movie. I was just home alone on a Saturday. I was like 12. Just walked and saw like a matinee and then went to a diner. Just alone.
Read a magazine?
Yeah, I read the newspaper. I was like
The newspaper.
just a little kid. I felt like a fully formed adult at that age.
I did not. I thought that the world of adults was very glamorous. And like being, kind of sneaking around when there was a party going on and just listening to the sound of drunk people laughing.
Of just insane drinking. The loudest noises in the world.
Oh, yeah. Laughing at nothing.
Your parents and their friends drinking is the loudest thing that's ever happened.
Absolutely. And the most exciting.
Were you guys paraded around? Like, did you come down in, like, your pajamas and, like, everyone would laugh and then you go back upstairs?
We were allowed to hang out for a little bit at the beginning of the party, and then it was off to bed. And then we would hang out at the top of the steps and just listen.
Yeah, that's fun. I would come down and try to do, like, adult talk, which to me was... I was trying to appear mature, and to these people, it was like, and the funniest thing they'd ever seen.
Sure.
I remember telling a couple not to vote for Dukakis.
Do you remember your reasons why?
My parents are Republicans. I didn't know.
You worked on SNL for many years.
Yeah.
Was that something that you had always dreamed of doing?
I think when I was younger, yes. I remember thinking, I've been doing stand-up for like 2 years. And I was like, well, my path is pretty well defined. Nothing in show business ever changes. People never change paths at all. This is what I'm going to do, and I'll never be involved with Saturday Night Live. And meanwhile, I was doing like stand-up twice a week for no money.
Right. But you thought stand-up, this is all I'm ever going to do.
Mm-hmm. Because I had friends who were doing the, getting their SNL audition ready all the time. Mm-hmm. So it seemed like I was not on that track.
Right. But when you would think about it, would you think about it in terms of being a performer on the show?
Of course. Who dreams of being a writer?
Weirdos.
No,
weirdos who dream
I actually
of being
did
writers.
know, I remember when Conan O'Brien, when the show came out, I remember reading about him and having been a writer for SNL and The Simpsons. And that was about when I was 13. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking oh, that is a cool path. To write for those shows, and then I wanted to write for the Harvard Lampoon, but I couldn't get into Harvard University where they have the Lampoon because I was a poor student. Yeah, they don't take outside people. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you have to be. I think you have to be enrolled within the university, is what the woman told me. Yeah.
Right. Conan's path is very unusual in that he was a writer for such a long time.
Yeah.
Before he got in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Your path might not be set from the very beginning, but there are people that sort of make a choice. I know for me it was that I wrote on a TV show for a couple years, and it was a great experience, but it was long enough for me to know, this is not the part of it that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, I knew that. I'd written for some things, and I remember thinking to myself the summer I got hired, I don't want to write for TV shows anymore. I'm just going to kind of focus on stuff I can do myself. And then I auditioned for the show as a performer, and they said no. But they offered me a job as a writer, and I thought, I should do this. Here's what I honestly thought, I should do this for 1 year because it's so valuable, it'll be amazing to work there. But I've read all these books about it, and it's the worst, meanest place in the world, and the coldest, angriest working environment or whatever, And I just go in there. I was trying to steel myself before I started there, and I went in, and the place was run by Seth Meyers and Mike Shoemaker, and it was the friendliest writing staff. Like, it was the complete antithesis of those oral histories that come out.
Yeah. That change took a long time, that change in SNL, from the way that it used to be to how it was by the time that you got there.
I wonder, yeah. I
Well, because I've read those books too, and it's
and I guess we're assuming those books are accurate, right? That it was like a competitive.
It seems like enough people back them up.
Yeah, they
like enough people have the same story.
Yeah,
it's like
have,
I guess that's the way that works.
I guess it was a bit. I guess it was a bit odd.
But are you personally a competitive person?
No, that's what worried me about it. You know, is I thought that doesn't motivate me.
Right.
Being competitive with people. I thought, like, this may just be a hard year, and you'll get fired. And I remember talking to my friend Dan Mintz. We had just finished writing together at Important Things with Dimitri Martin. And we were on the phone, and he was like, yeah, but even if you get fired, you'll have the credit. And I was kind of going into it with that goal.
To get fired
to get
with a
fired,
credit.
but have the credit.
Obviously, people, maybe not at SNL, but people, you've been around people who thrive on competition. Do you feel, well, I think there's a lot of it in stand-up, you know? I think there's a lot of comics who see it as it's absolutely a race, you know? And it's all about, like, I need to be the alpha here. I need everyone to know that I do the best.
Yeah.
That I destroy the most.
But I feel like I at least fairly quickly thought, oh, there's no the best. Mm-hmm. Like, there's just so many different types of stand-ups.
Oh yeah, well, absolutely. But if you're around that type of person,
yes,
do you tend to just kind of retreat from that? Does it ever stir feelings of competition in you?
No, I rarely get. One time I was competitive. I was in the DC Improv New Talent Competition of 2002.
Because you went to school in Georgetown.
Yeah. And I don't like to.
You went to a school in the
national
District
TV
of Columbia.
show coming out.
Yes, I apologize.
I'm an everyman. We discussed before the taping that I am an everyman.
We can take all this.
Yeah. I worked my way up, got a college degree. First in my family.
It was you, your buddies E and Turtle.
Yeah, and the Jersey Boys.
The Jersey Boys were there.
Yeah.
The Jerky Boys were there.
Just a bunch of regular guys with a dream.
Yeah.
At Georgetown University.
That's
and their dad also went there, and he was on the board. But, and that's how you got in. But, what were we talking about?
You went to DC?
I was in the DC Improv New Talent Competition, and no, I'm never competitive, but this guy backstage kept telling me, like, you gotta see Jerry Seinfeld's documentary Comedian. You gotta watch that, you gotta study it. And like before you can even hit that stage, like watch that movie, kid, like that'll show you what it's really like, blah, blah, blah. And I beat that person and I was thrilled to win the competition. I remember feeling that, I was like, oh, this is what it feels like to feel happy that someone else lost.
Right.
I do remember that.
When you actually got engaged, when you actually got married, like did it feel different to you? Because a lot of people say, oh, what's the difference really? We're already living together, we've been together for a while. But for me, I noticed, my wife and I had been together for 5 years before we got engaged.
Engaged, okay.
And it felt different to me right away.
Yeah.
It felt like definitely we stepped over a line, like this is a much more serious thing.
Yeah, engaged actually felt like a bigger change than married, though we've only been married like 9 days. But engaged did feel like a line in the sand, and after we got engaged, it was great. It simplified everything to me, and it simplifies it even more now that we're married, because it's like, oh, that's my wife. Everyone understands what that means. I have to go, my wife, etc. Yeah. Everyone knows what that means.
She's the perfect excuse.
Not just the perfect excuse, but you go like...
I love that's your example, though. I have to go, my wife, etc.
I just find like, can my girlfriend come? And, it's just like, and yeah, you don't have to say it that way, but it's like, wife has a lot of power. My wife. No, when we got engaged, I was like, oh, I remember we were leaving a restaurant, and I was like, oh, that's like my queen. And like you'd have to take care of the queen, and it's just simple. There's not like what's going on with us. I did ask her that. That was part of my vows.
Did you ask it like part of the vows?
What are we doing here? What's going on with us? Yeah.
That's late in the game to be asking those questions.
It's important.
This is what I'm saying. It's so important. I think you should have been asking it
Earlier? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We're agreeing.
But you're giving me a little sass.
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, you admit
it. No, yes, it's wife is good. I like the word. Did you enjoy saying the word wife?
I love it, wife.
My wife. I'm priority access. My wife isn't. Can she board with me? Of course. She's not a priority like me to American Airlines.
Let me tell you a story about that. One time my wife got selected for the random pre-check, right?
TSA pre-check?
Yeah.
Okay. This is I have volumes to say about this.
She gets it on her ticket. She's like, oh, I can go through the pre-check line.
What's Paul's ticket say?
Just regular.
Regular man.
Yeah. I'm the regular humiliation.
Yeah. General humiliation.
Yeah, general humiliation ticket. She lords it over me. Like, it was the weirdest thing where she's like, sorry.
And when?
Yeah.
So
never, like, every step of the way was like, oh, you gotta take your jacket off. You gotta take your shoes off.
So she followed you in line, but still.
At one point, the lines are next to each other.
Yes, it's very awkward. Yeah.
She's like, I'll see you in 10 minutes, I guess.
Well, the funny thing is that they still have to wait for you to be done, but they don't have to take off their shoes.
They don't have to have the
laptop.
humiliation.
They're not humiliated. When we were first dating, one of the first times Anna went on the road with me, I got TSA pre-check because I'm a major priority. And I just thought, oh, I'm a pre-check, so you go here and I go there, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. And then I went through, and then she snaked through a LaGuardia line for like a half hour. And she came out and she wasn't mad. She was like, okay, I've got everything. Hey, never do that again. And then we walked to the gate.
On your show, you get to work with Martin Short.
Yeah.
And Elliot Gould.
Yeah.
Who are heroes to you when you were a kid.
Yes.
But that were generationally maybe a little older than people of your age probably would have been into.
Well, Three Amigos was like a huge movie for us when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a Martin Short fan from very early on. With Elliot Gould, I think generationally, some of the films had come out before I was born, but I remember when Saturday Night Lives were coming out on VHS, the one that he hosted was like one of the ones I had. So I was aware of him for a long time, and then was really into MASH and those films. Right. But yes, I was a little kid also into Elliot Gould. That's what you're getting at.
That's exactly.
I was always weird.
I'm saying here's an 8-year-old.
I was always weird in the same way.
Watching The Long Goodbye.
Yes. And then walking to a diner and sitting alone. And blissful.
Is it strange to have a show named your last name?
The notion that a show is about to come out that's called my name, and therefore, if one were to, let's say, I don't know, criticize the show.
Sure.
But who would ever criticize a new comedy that comes out? I don't know.
Certainly not I.
If they were to, they would have to use my name as the name of the show, such as Mulaney isn't funny, or I don't like Mulaney, which is like what I've been trying to avoid my entire life. I don't like Mulaney is what I've been trying to avoid my entire life.
Did you have different titles for the show that you would have preferred, or were you okay with this from the get-go?
There were varieties that all had my name in it.
John Mulaney.
The John Mulaney Show. Mulaney Don't Drink was one of them. Mulaney's No Fun. The one I really liked was Mulaney Can't Hang.
Now that you are getting to perform on camera a lot, in addition to your show, you do stuff like the Kroll Show with Nick Kroll.
Yes. I've auditioned for maybe, since I started doing comedy, I've auditioned for maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred things. I've only been cast twice. That's on my show and my best friend's show. It's the only two people who've ever cast me. Are me and my best friend.
Did you get close on anything?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I got a callback once for a Trident commercial.
Oh.
Or the second callback. I think I had to get money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are there ever so many callbacks that you get like $50 or something?
I think with commercials there is some level where you get money. And also if they keep you there forever.
They held me for some time.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of money.
You were detained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I get close on anything else? No, I don't think so.
Was that tough? I mean, let's say you're going to your, 50th audition.
Well, a
and not
lot of it
getting
was
something.
in New York, commercial auditions.
Yeah.
And it was almost more fun to not get it because it was you'd go to these places, these like little production houses, and it'd be terrible copy and a billion people waiting, and it was it almost felt just like something to do.
Right.
Like going to a doctor appointment or something. I think I was very confused and surprised when I had the Trident callback. I was like, what? Again? Okay.
Do I have to start chewing Trident gum?
Yeah, what does this mean?
I'm a Wrigley's man since way back when.
Should I stop renting? Should I buy? I mean, no, I don't think I cared that much. I had to take my shirt off for a Starburst audition once. I didn't care for that.
That seems weird.
Yeah. Was it a Starburst? It was one of those, it was like, and I know I'm not gonna get it, and I remember just being like, are you gonna do this? And then I did it, and I was like, you shouldn't have done it. Why'd you do that? Some guys now got film of you walking around with your shirt off. And what was the upside? That you would be shirtless on national TV.
That's exactly right.
Starburst.
Exactly right.
Did you do commercial audition racket?
I had done it for a little bit, and then I never got cast in anything.
Yeah.
And those auditions are humiliating. They
were,
treat you like garbage.
humiliating. I am laughing now, but they were humiliating.
They really, because all pretense of art is removed.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is business.
Yeah.
You over there.
Yeah.
You're all, go away, all
Or
of
did
you.
you ever do a lineup and they go, no, yeah, yeah.
It always felt like that, but it
Yeah.
was never literally
Well,
that. for
sometimes
me.
it was purely like there was a look that
Yeah.
the casting director hadn't been told about, so you were just lined up and told to leave.
I had one where I was supposed to audition for the part in the commercial that had that was going to be the ongoing face of this campaign.
Yes.
And the casting people thought I was there for the part that was one word. And so they said, all the one word people go over here. And I said, oh, actually, I was told I was
I'd like
reading
to be
for the other
face of
part.
campaign, yeah.
And she went, well, I'm telling you now that you go over there. Everybody laughed at me. It felt like I was in school. It was so weird. Like, I'm a grown man. Are you all laughing at me?
Also, I'm just like laughing from just lousy, bitter sarcasm.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm telling you to
Yeah.
go over there. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
I was laughed at by a group of adults. Do you know there's a Canadian singer, Justin Bieber? Do you know him?
What part of Canada?
Do you know the provinces?
Pretty well.
Okay, I have no idea where he's from.
Ottawa?
He lives in Calabasas now. That's all you need to know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I know who you're talking. Yes.
Yes, really nice guy. He was the musical guest on Saturday Night Live one week when I was working there as a writer. It was Friday at about 11:30 at night. You know, I'm exhausted. I was walking down that hallway. You know, the hallway you see when they do a backstagey thing. You know, the long with the checkered floor and stuff. I'm walking down that hallway to give scripts, to throw scripts in a pile of garbage. I don't know what I was doing. I was walking down the hall, and just like a melancholy little prince, just like head down, so exhausted, and all of a sudden someone jumps out and goes, and I went, ah! and it was Justin Bieber, and he laughed at me, and he had a crew of about 10 people, and they all laughed at me. And then they walked and they got on an elevator, and his manager was like, Justin, come on, we gotta go. And so he had somewhere to be, but he took time out of his day to embarrass a depressed man.
Mulaney starts
Yeah.
October 5th
Yeah.
on Fox.
Yeah.
What time? What's your time slot?
9:30 Eastern.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a good one.
What time's it come on Western?
Oh, how does Western work? Is it just the same time? Yeah, 9:30.
Yeah.
8:30 Central.
You passed my test. John, don't look. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now you gotta look at mine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to wash my hands 50 times. John, thank you so much for being here.
Cheers to you, Paul.
I hope to see you again very soon. And not just on the television.
In real life.
That does it for this round of Speakeasy. Please join us again next time when my guest will be a different person.
As we pan out.
Oh, I know.
My first SNL episode, I thought I was gonna pass out. I really did. I remember I did that Al Pacino thing and I walked off and I had to go sit down. The band go sit me down and I was just like, like shaking and I was like, I can't.